Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com. Today's film is a tour of our gardens here at Learn How to Garden. If you're not subscribed to us, there is a link appearing above me right now, and if you click on that link and input your email address, it means you'll get access to all our written posts. You'll get a notification every single time we put up a new film. It also means you can see all the courses we do at Learn How to Garden, which have fantastic reviews, and our gardening club. But today's film is all about everything you can be cropping from your garden in the winter. And as you can see, it's quite a nice frosty morning. This is our December tour around our plot. As you can see, I am now absolutely filthy. This is my young rescue dog Hattie. It's quite cold, she's got a coat on, and I've got covered in mud. What we're going to do is just quickly go around and show you what we're growing, what we have growing. The bed behind me is one of our raised beds. It's a hot bed. It was filled in the last 2 weeks. It looks empty, but in fact it's full of overwintering garlic and overwintering shallots, echelon grease. So that's one of them. You can't see anything at the moment, but they will start to come through within the next couple of weeks. Here we have an identical bed that was planted out in November with a new strawberry bed. The strawberries came as runners, and as we can see, they are already starting to put on some growth. Now that will slow down obviously as it gets much colder, but we can see they're growing. The one problem we do have, as we can see from a little alt over here, we've got squirrels burying acorns in here, so it really could do with being covered with a cloche of some description. The third of our tall raised beds, we've got spring cabbage, we've got mustard, kale, we've got tatsoi growing here quite happily, we've got mabuna, red fiddle's mustard and radicchio. This bed has been frozen on half a dozen occasions so far, but if you choose the right varieties, these will all grow quite happily down till about -10, -15, and will shrug off the worst of most of the weather. So if you get your planning right, one of the things we do at Learn How to Garden obviously is say when to sow things, you can actually get your beds to be productive 365 days a year. We're going to run through some of our no-dig beds now. Under this one, these are garlic that were planted about a month ago. They've made really nice growth, really quite happy with those. At the front of this bed, we actually put garlic in much later, so they're not coming up yet. And next to it, if you don't use these hoop cloches, they are incredibly easy to make and really useful. This bed is full of echelon grease shallots, and they're just starting to come through. This was top dressed with some green waste, and then we just planted through it. Neither of these beds were dug. This bed in fact had green manure hoed into it before we covered it. These are the red Ball Kales. We've been picking these for, oh gosh, must be a couple of months at least. In fact, some of them we've been picking much longer than that, because you can pick kale very small as a salad leaf or allow it to grow taller, and then these leaves are fantastic. I was about to say they're a fantastic green, although they're purple. They're still a brassica, great in the winter. Here we are with flower sprouts. Flower sprouts are a cross between Brussels and kale. I think they taste better than both. They really are fantastic. They're like little Brussels sprouts that have blown. These have got taller than I thought. I mean, I'm 6 foot and these aren't far off me. We've had to support them, but we've been picking all the way up the stems. Just like Brussels, remember, all you have to do is pick from the bottom and they'll continue to grow. Once you've picked all of the sprouts, the top here, just like Brussels, is really tasty and makes a fantastic spring greens. Again, these are purple, but you know, those are still brilliant. So flower sprouts, if you haven't grown them, well worth growing. If you want to try them, if you look in the shops, they'll either be called flower sprouts or kalettes is the other name for them. Another green for the winter, this is Sprigarello, sometimes called broccoletti. On each of these plants, on each of the leaf axes, we now have a little shoot growing, and that will produce like a tiny little floret, like a really minute broccoli. Again, fantastic. But the leaves themselves are brilliant in lots of Italian pasta dishes, which sort of come from the mountains, where you've got more of those brassicas growing and those brilliant winter flavours. Broccoletti, again, you won't see it in the shops. You need to grow this if you want to sort of experience these unique tastes from these unique vegetables. We're in our small cool greenhouse. It's 6 foot by 8 foot. It's not heated at all. It's the standard greenhouse that most people have, and it's to show you again, by choosing the right varieties, getting them sown at the right time, you can grow in this greenhouse through the winter. A lot of people get lots of tomatoes in the summer and then more or less treat it as a shed. We've got winter lettuce, different varieties of lettuce growing quite happily. We've got a red pak choi, and what's interesting here is you notice the one growing in an air pot is growing significantly better than those pak choi that are just growing in normal little 5-inch pots. We've got pea shoots, probably the easiest thing, again in an old grow bag. If you think they look very short, that's because they've already had 2 cuts. You cut pea shoots off and they re-sprout. And then here, this is perpetual spinach. It'll grow throughout the winter. We've got 4 pots of it, and when there's enough for a pick, you sort of just pick off the leaves individually and use them just like you use summer spinach. And then last but not least, in this self-watering container at the back of the greenhouse, we've got some large frizzy endives that next spring will be like big pale dinner plates, and we'll be using those. But while we're in here, just a quick top tip. If, like me, you get muck in parts of the greenhouse, just get a plant label, and if you go between the glass and the frame, you can get out a lot of that moss. And if you do it on a cool day like today, you'll find that this is frozen and it comes out much easier. So on a cool day is the day to clean all those spaces between your glass and the frame, and then just pop that back into your compost heap.